What is going on, everybody? It is Mock Mondays here on Blitz Fantasy Football. I hope everybody had a great week. I missed you guys. It's been 1 week too long, and we definitely have a few housekeeping things to take a look at this week. If you have any sort of fantasy football questions, I know a lot of people are starting to have those drafts come up, so start dropping those questions. We got a special guest today, and Pete Nova stopping in here in the next few minutes before that live stream, and a little bit of a spoiler alert. Yes, we will be doing two mock drafts. The first one will be the one we already have filled up here for 8/10, just a normal mock draft. And then shout out to the boy Mezer. We are doing a speed mock draft as that second one. Pete's probably not hanging out for that one, but we will get him involved here shortly. But we have some stuff we need to talk about. And if you have any sort of fantasy questions, make sure you drop down in the comment section below. Follow me on social medias at Blitzlink, and let's talk about the injuries in fantasy football. You know, you take a look at Luther Burden, for example, a player that is likely out till week 1 or could miss a couple weeks now at this point. Definitely a little bit concerning there. But with Burden, I'm interested to see kind of how that ADP shifts now with this groin injury and his availability. I think we could see him in 2 to 3 weeks turn out to be a very good value in the late 5th, early 6th round. And Burden's a guy that I'm drafting everywhere. I would not be surprised about that. So with him, I'm very high on where he could fall. Rome Odunze is a player that I expect to rise up in drafts a little bit, but I wouldn't necessarily target him like crazy by any means. I kind of just look at it as a situation where Rome Odunze is a player that can be a solid wide receiver too. It feels like this year at max, and I think his ADP may shoot up a little bit because of this injury. The guy that I would target, though, would be Colston Loveland of the group. He's going to be the clear go-to guy in the big situations for the Bears. He's tight end 1 overall upside. I think he's a late 3rd, early 4th round pick right now with a lot of different formats, and even better value right now, especially if Luther Burden does miss any time. Some other notes, you got J.K. Dobbins already on the injury report. That one's devastating for the boys, man. We've been preaching the J.K. Dobbins truth every single time, on this show about how undervalued he is in the 8th round, but he could not stay healthy whatsoever. And here we are sitting here just saying, man, we are going to have to figure out what to do with that J.K. Dobbins situation. That doesn't mean I'm targeting R.J. Harvey. We'll see what the reports come out with that. Good news is, though, you got like players come back. Cyrus Allen, Xavier Worthy for the Chiefs came back this week. That's big news, especially the Cyrus Allen community. Looks like Malik Neighbors is getting closer and closer to being healthier to play week 1. So, yeah, we're going to have to take a look at this. Let's get to these questions here real quick. We got team review. We got Drake May, A-Chain, Josh Jacobs, A.J. Brown, Pickens, Flexes, Kenneth Walker, bench Lad McConkey, Carnell Tate, Pittman, other bench running backs. I traded JSN for Lad McConkey and A.J. Brown. Sir Dinish, I don't know if I pronounced that name right, but we might as well lock in your championship game appearance right now because this squad is absolutely disgusting. I mean, the fact that you were able to get all these players in a 10-man league, I would not be surprised if this was a 6-man league. This team is absolutely stacked. That boy Dota says that as well. But yeah, the second mock will definitely be a quick little turn on that clock, and I will put the link in the description here towards the later half of this mock draft we have. So those of you guys sticking around the video, I'll throw that in the comment section. We'll fill up that sleeper draft as we're doing this mock draft for this video. Looks like Pete here is getting all set up. But like I said, that team is absolutely cracked here, and we're looking at a very, very good year for you, Sir Dennis. Some of the other interesting parts about this week, though, is we have the first week of the preseason coming up, and there's going to be a lot of storylines. Some of these teams are going to be playing their ones. Some of these teams are not going to be playing anybody, and you got to take a look at who's in, who's not in, who's getting the snaps and the rotations in those. And I would be most interested in the Carolina running back rotation, is how that's going to shake out this week during the preseason, how much Jonathan Brooks plays, how much Chuba Hubbard plays, and we'll get a good look at that backfield overall and kind of see where those targeting those guys. Looks like Pete is in. We're going to welcome in Pete right now. Pete, how we doing?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to see you again.
Yeah, dude, I thought maybe I was late. I didn't know you were when you said you were hopping in early. I didn't know you meant you were starting a little bit early. I would have came here a little bit earlier, so I apologize for that. But yeah, man, doing well. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, you're a Broncos guy, right?
That I am. I am a Broncos guy.
So J.K. Dobbins goes down today. What are the thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's tough with JK, obviously with the injury history and the unknown of how he'll hold up this year. I think they're bracing for that. I think unfortunately they swung and missed in free agency on some guys. And I think as they got closer and probably evaluated the running back class, they probably weren't as happy. So I think overall they're not. I don't think they're in love with the group, but if Dobbins was to stay healthy, they'd feel probably pretty good about it. But overall, I think Harvey's still going to maintain a really strong receiving role. And Coleman's going to factor in at some point. I don't think he's going to really get more than 4 touches a game unless there's an injury, but he should probably be valued as a pretty high handcuff should Dobbins go down.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, man. J.K. Dobbins can't seem to finish a freaking season. That poor guy. The poor guy cannot stay healthy to save his life. We do this every week. So, who is your guy that you're targeting in all of your drafts this year in fantasy?
Well, the obvious, I feel like the obvious one is Parker Washington. So I'm not going to say that. I think Parker Washington could get an extension here soon and start, realistically going in like the 5th round consistently.
Yep.
I'd say Jalen Coker though for me. I don't view Coker as like, hey, this guy's going to be a top 15 player, but I have him penciled in for at least 100 targets. I have him at 120. He had like 100% true catch rating last year. He's going to be on the field. They don't have a lot of weapons. And I just like what I saw at the end of last year and the fact that there's not, I mean, who's really catching the ball outside of Tet, right? I mean, Jatavion Sanders gets injured in the first preseason game. He hasn't really shown much at the NFL level yet. And then it's really just like Jimmy Horn, John Mechie. They really don't have much behind Tet and Coker. So I feel like Coker's probably going to be penciled in for a 20% target share. And he's going well beyond 110. He's going around the 120 area. So I'm loving his cost outside of the top 100.
Yeah, Coker's a guy that, only had that 1% lower target share than Tetairoa McMillan to close the year over those last 6 weeks. So that's definitely something that I've definitely looked at, been very intrigued by. And Coker's been a player that would be very, very interesting for sure. So let's kind of get this sleeper board pulled up here. We'll get our faces off to the side. We'll get the board pulled up. Um, as you guys know, we do this every Monday. If you want to do these drafts, I post them towards the end of the week. Go fill them out. Lucky for you guys. Later tonight, after me and Pete are done, I am doing another one after this. I'll drop in the description. So very, very good for you guys to get on these mocks. Have you done any drafts this year yet? Like any of your leagues drafted?
Home leagues, no. I typically push out home leagues as far out as we can, where guys feel comfortable to draft. FFPC, NFFC. I've done some high stakes drafts. I've done 2 the last 2 weeks. So we're going to continue to do maybe 1 or 2 a week over there on Player Profiler, which has been a lot of fun. So
Awesome.
haven't really done any, of my main leagues though.
Yeah, I feel that. I try all the leagues that I have control over. I'm like, guys, there's no way we're doing this more than 2 to 3 weeks before the year. And then for some reason, like I have 4 drafts already done that end of July, first week of August, which is makes no sense to me why some people are trying to push those timelines. But hey, I mean, you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, some guys can't. Some guys can't. Some guys can't wait. And then for me, I try to like my one home league. We draft in person every year, and we're drafting September 6th, which is like the Sunday
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
the
That's when
league really
that's what
kicks
my
off.
main like league I've been doing with my boys for 10 years. That weekend's the peak weekend. You get Labor Day weekend, everybody's got off. You got perfect
Yeah,
setup for that.
Labor Day usually makes it tough because people go on vacation or whatever. At that
Yeah.
point, we usually have like 1 or 2 rotating spots in our league because people can't make the draft, and we're just like, listen, it's got to be live. Got
Got
to
to
be
be
live.
live. All right. Well, I'll let you go here. The top 5 are gone now. Any news about CMC and Dobbins being injured at camp? Kind of talked about Dobbins and those concerns there. With CMC, I mean, I hate to say it, we kind of expected this because of the touch curse. I mean, 450 plus touches last year, and then you see him go to Roth right in front of me. I mean, you know what you're paying for with CMC right now, and you're paying for that little bit of injury risk. So there's definitely some concerns there with me. Sticking to my guns with Justin Jefferson there, and I'll let you talk about Amon Ra first. I mean, the safest pick in the first round, right?
Yeah, I think St. Brown is just a surefire pick. I mean, you really can't go wrong taking him. I would typically, if the news with CMC didn't come out today, I have it like Puka, Nakua, Chase, and then like CMC, and then I have St. Brown and JSM behind him. But in a real scenario, drafting for a real team, if this was for money, that's how I always try to draft. If I was drafting my home league right now, and I wouldn't feel comfortable taking CMC right here. Doesn't mean that I'm going to be scared to take CMC, but just the fact that there's no news right now is just one of those things where it's like, all right, you know what? Like, if it was me, I'd be trying to avoid him until I got some more clarity.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I've been a guy that if I'm drafting CMC this year, uh, Dota commented a little bit of injury concern with quotation marks. This got me laughing a little bit. But with CMC, I know what I have to do. If I'm drafting CMC at the end of the first, I'm picking the handcuff regardless. And it's Kalon Black right now. Jordan James is already injured. I mean, San Francisco already has all the injuries. The electrical field screwing them over there. But if I'm getting CMC, man, I have to have that handcuff or I feel uncomfortable about my pick there. The question I got was Justin Jefferson over CD Lamb and why I went that route. Here's the deal with Jettas. The guy never finished lower than wide receiver 9 prior to last season, and he had a season from hell from the quarterback position. He was one of the lowest in the NFL in quarterback rating when targeted last year. And in terms of expected fantasy points per game compared to his actual, he was by far the worst at the wide receiver position. He would have been the wide receiver 14 last year in points per game. He was the wide receiver 25 because of how bad the quarterback play was and them trying to get him the ball. And it caused a bunch of deficiencies. It wasn't like his red zone share was any different or his target share was any different. Nothing was different for Justin Jefferson than his peak years. The thing that was different was the quarterback play. And Kyler Murray has produced a top 5 season for DeAndre Hopkins in the past. He is probably walking into the best offensive situation he has in his career. And I'm a big believer that Justin Jefferson bounces back with average to even worse below average quarterback play, not absolutely abysmal, worst quarterback we've seen in the last 5 years.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have a little bit of concerns with Lamb. Not necessarily that Lamb is not going to be good for fantasy this year, but more so, I just don't know that he should be that ranked that far off for his his co wide receiver in George Pickens. When I did the math there, it's just that the scary thing with Lamb is Lamb's only been the top 6 wide receiver one time in points per game in his career. And it was 3 years ago when he had a massive touchdown spike. I think it was 14. And then if you look at the touchdown rate with Lamb and Pickens on the field, Lamb's got like, I mean, his touchdown rate dropped significantly with Pickens on the field, even though everything else was pretty much up or
Yeah.
the same. So it's like if he's not scoring touchdowns, I just worry what the ceiling is and spending a first round pick on him right now. I'm okay with like him at like the early second just because there's variance and I could obviously be wrong, but I prefer some other players over Lamb in the first round.
Yeah, I dig that. I'm a little bit hesitant about CD Lamb this year. I've kind of toyed back and forward with him and AJ Brown as my wide receiver 6 in fantasy. With Lamb, I know like the floor is going to be high, but you even saw last year like the chemistry between CD and Dak just kind of felt off. It almost felt like, and I'm not sure if that carries over into this year and how much George Pickens' breakout season impacts over the course of an entire year CD Lamb's wide receiver 1 usage, but he's definitely a guy that I wouldn't say is like the most comfortable and sexy pick in the first round. I would love him in the early second for sure. But CeeDee Lamb's a guy that I'm not necessarily targeting up. A guy that I have been targeting up that had bad reports today was Amarian Hampton. Mike McDaniel goes and says, yeah, we got a 3-headed monster form between Kamani Vidal, Keaton Mitchell, and Amarian Hampton. And I think everybody's going to freak out with that. But Chargers reporters around camp have been saying Kamani Vidal has played 0 snaps with the ones in practice, and it's just been Hampton and Mitchell. I'm not necessarily super worried, regardless of this. If this is more of a backfield split than we're anticipating, Mike McDaniel's had 3 straight RB5 finishers in fantasy. I need that running back in that offense because they're going to be pretty good this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, if we can get a discount, I'm happy about it. I think people get worried, and he's talking about riding a hot hand. I mean, I'd be very, very shocked. I'd be willing to put a lot of money on it. There's no injury to Hampton that Hampton's going to see at least 280 to 300 touches this year between rushes and receptions. I feel pretty confident about that. And Vidal is interesting. I prefer Vidal over Keaton Mitchell. I know Keaton Mitchell is like a sexy hot pick right now, but he's more of a best ball pick. I don't know what kind of standalone value he's going to have if Hampton
NFL and design target share percentage last year. It was the wide receiver 5 points per game. It's just, are we going to get a healthy version of Rashee Rice? And I think in redraft, I'm willing to take that risk, knowing that I only have him for one season versus a dynasty format where I'm making that investment over the course of his career. Because from what I've heard around Kansas City is the Chiefs right now have no intentions of re-signing him. So
yeah,
he's going to have to really clean up his act and find a way to stay on the field more if that's a long-term possibility in Kansas City. But either way, like heading into my pick, I know you talk about the 3 wide receiver format. This is the latest I've gotten Trey McBride in a draft. And I'm a guy that's fading Trey McBride a lot in fantasy football right now. And getting him at 308 is a place that I just can't fade this guy. So really, really happy with that one there. And then I'm able to snag Javonte Williams right there at the 405. Definitely a pick that I very much enjoy this year. It was RB11 overall finish. I know there was a little bit of tail off in production in that second half of the year, but you're kind of paying for that in the 4th round when you get Javonte Williams. He's a really steady RB2 with RB1 upside throughout the entire course of the season. And I'm very, very excited to get him around here as my RB2 for sure.
Yeah, I happen to like him a lot as well. I think it's a good pick. Sitting here, and Breece Hall is the highest running back on my board. I still don't really love taking him. But wide receiver, there's some wide receivers on the board here: Higgins, McMillan, Devontae. But there's some tiers. I don't want to get stuck too far behind. I don't want to just pick a running back to pick a running back, but I'll take Breece Hall. I have Breece Hall as my RB15. I have him ranked as my 30th. He's going off the board at an ADP of 30. So get Breece Hall there is fine with me. I'm not in love with it, but again, in a start 3 wide receiver league, I'm okay with having Breece Hall as my RB1 if I'm stacked at wide receiver like I am.
So I'm on the contrary on Breece Hall this year. My biggest concern and worry with him is his target share has decreased 3 straight seasons now. Are you worried at all about that target share staying in that trend, or are you of the belief that this year the Jets commit to him more in passing down work?
Yeah, it's a good question to have. I actually did talk about Breece Hall before he got signed, and talked a little bit about his target share and just overall, kind of what he's done historically. I think his target share probably it's tough because they did add more players. So you're sitting here saying, how can Breece Hall get a higher target share when there's more competition there, right? And that's somewhat concerning, but all the other metrics are pretty high for him. I'm trying to look for, I had a write-up on him, but I can't find it at the moment right now. But I think he's a pretty safe, like, you're probably going to get top 15. I think you're confident on that. How high is the ceiling? I don't think it's top 5. I think you're probably going to be somewhere in that RB10 to RB15 range with him. And if that offense can be better with Geno, which hard to be worse, then you expect him to perform better. I'm not really worried about the guys behind him, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis. I know people are a little skittish. I could care less.
That's like the 3-headed monster in Los Angeles forming right now.
Yeah. That's the funniest thing, because Aaron Glenn brought up 3-headed monster, and I'm just like, in what world in the NFL is there ever really a 3-back committee? It's just so rare. Maybe bell cows are becoming more rare, but a 3-back committee is just really not realistic. It's very, very rare.
It's kind of hard to deploy all 3 of those guys and keep them all invested. I think the closest thing we see to a 3-back committee is what we see in Tampa Bay, where Sean Tucker plays around the goal line a little bit. You've had Rachaad White play on 3rd downs. You have Bucky Irving play early downs. That's kind of why I'm a little hesitant on Bucky this year too. I don't know what your thoughts are on him, but the metrics are really bad to close last season. And you take a look at, what they're already saying in Tampa Bay is Kenneth Gainwell is going to have a massive role. You have Sean Tucker still there, and Zach Robinson was really big on Tyler Algier around the goal line as well. So I do have my concerns there. I'm going to rip the Bashal Tootin train here. I am so high on him entering this year. You talked about Parker Washington. I'm just high on this Jaguars offense overall. And Tootin's a player that Liam Cohen has just glazed the entire offseason and said he's going to be a massive piece of this offense for us this year. Very, very excited to see how big that role could be. And I know there's people saying, well, Chris Rodriguez, is going to be the goal line back last year. You know who was the goal line back last year? Bashal Tootin for this offense, and Travis Etienne was still the RB13. So I'm not super concerned about the competition there. And Chris Rodriguez has that foot problem. He's still kind of not 100% working back from. I think it's Tootin's backfield to lose at this point.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think it is. I think it's Tootin's back for the lose. I am a little bit lower on Tootin than consensus. This is a good spot to get him, though. I mean, we're talking late 5th round. That's not even top 50 pick, right? So that's a really, really good spot to get him at. Where I get a little concerned is taking him inside the top 50. I know that he's a talented player, and I understand your point. I just think he's getting eaten a little bit on both sides, and he's gonna have to be. I think he's gonna have to be really good and just take the starting role by the horns. And I think he's gonna get the first crack at it. I just worry, you have LaQuinn Allen, who I think is a very, very underrated pass catcher, who will catch passes. And there have been reports that he's been out there catching passes with the ones. You have Trevor Lawrence, who rushed for 9 touchdowns last year. I don't think that's going to happen again. There's going to be some regression there, but some vulturing at the goal line with Lawrence plus a little bit of C-Rod. There's a good chance Tootin is the main guy at the goal line, but still these little eating at the upside and the ceiling is what frustrates me about the situation. But at a price like that, where you get him late 5th round, I mean, it's hard to not like the upside there. That would be the area that I'd like to start taking Tootin. It's just, I feel like he's not going to fall that far in most situations.
Yeah. I was very disappointed when I got sniped on Parker Washington. I was really excited to go Jaguars back to back, get him in the 5th and 6th. But I'll settle with Mike Evans. I know he's dealing with a little bit of injuries already, probably going to be cooked because he plays for the 49ers and get hurt at some point this year. But with Evans, the biggest thing that I take a look at is Juwan Jennings was 6th in red zone targets last season. He's gone now. Mike Evans has been historically a much better red zone player than Juwan Jennings throughout his career. He's going to slot right into that role and have a ton of touchdown upside in San Francisco. And it only helps that Ricky Pearsall is out for the year. And I know they brought in Deebo Samuel, but we all know Deebo Samuel is not a route running receiver. He's more of a guy, get the ball in his hands over the middle of the field, see what can happen, see if he can make a guy miss. So Mike Evans, kind of like his upside there in the 6th round. And you got Sam Laporta. He is going to feast with Drew Petzing this year.
Yeah, I like the Mike Evans pick, by the way. Again, this is a situation. I mean, Mike Evans in the 6th round is great. I was concerned before that injury in camp that he was going to start pushing into that 4-5 turn area. But I think we're going to get somewhat of a discount here, which is nice to get him where you did. Sam Laporta, it's just a calling of the shot, right? I'm high on Laporta this year. I potentially could have waited, though Kelsey and Pitts go right behind him. But I don't know. I think I have Laporta. I think I have him ranked as I think I have him ranked as my 4th highest tight end.
You have him over Loveland or Warren?
I have him over Loveland. Now that could change. I haven't adjusted since the Burden injury. Prior to Burden, I had it as Warren at 3, Laporta at 4, and Loveland at 5. But if Burden is going to miss time, right, then it's hard not to push Loveland up, ahead of Laporta and possibly ahead of Warren. It's hard with Warren, though. They really don't have many options out there. And I trust. Not that I trust Daniel Jones more than Caleb Williams, but I know Jones is going to get the ball on his players, in rhythm, which Williams has a little bit of issues with. But I'm high on Loveland. I'm just not as high as everybody else is.
Got you. The most interesting pick of this mock is Mezer going at quarterback in the 6th. I don't think I've ever seen him go quarterback earlier than round 12 when we've done these mock drafts. So him going Joe Burrow there in the 6 is absolutely insane. Late quarterback has been the best strategy this year by far. I mean, there's so much depth at the position, and you can find whatever good quarterback you want down the stretch here. And I think the more interesting part was the tight end room, because you talked about like how high you have Sam Laporta. I haven't seen Kelsey go in the 6 yet, but Kelsey's a guy in the round. I mean, his ADP is in round 9. Like, he's a steal in that range.
Yeah.
You talk about, well, someone's going to pick Greg Dulcich. I actually have him inside my top 12 tight ends. I'm a believer. The situation's perfect for him to succeed, and the target competition absolutely sucks. And I'm not saying the Miami Dolphins are going to be good by any means, but I think the passing volume is going to be there for him to be successful. I'm sitting here with 2 of my 3 wide receivers. That does not make me feel great about myself right now. I think I can get one on the turn. Yeah, I don't love this. So we're gonna go out and reach. We talked about him a little bit earlier in this show. I want to make sure I get some depth there. Jonathan Brooks all the way in the 7th. The Carolina backfield, the biggest preseason storyline you need to watch and see how Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks are operating. From what we've heard from training camp is that we're seeing a 50-50 split on the first team, and Brooks has a real chance of winning the majority of this work. Chuba Hubbard had as many explosive runs as me and Pete over here. So if you're picking Chuba Hubbard this year, you're writing your own grave because it's bad volume. And the Carolina Panthers are also in a situation where they're actually one of the lowest projected offenses according to Vegas this year. So it doesn't make me super enticed to take Chuba Hubbard. So I'm all in on the Jonathan Brooks train, and I'll take him where I will.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I have Brooks ranked at 82, and he'll probably rise ahead of RJ Harvey, who I had at 79. I just dropped my rankings last week. But yeah, I mean, 82, you're getting him at late 7th round. I think that's fair. And honestly, Brooks is sharper people are going to start pushing Brooks up the board, right? So you're going to be in many leagues, and right now I think his ADP is what, 120, something like
Yeah,
that.
it's horrible.
Yeah, you're going to be in leagues where if you're in a league where people know what they're doing, he's not going to last that far, and so you may have to quote unquote reach for him. But in sharp leagues, like high stakes drafting, he's going in the 70s, 80s, sometimes even a little higher. So I don't think it's really a reach at all. It's just ADP hasn't caught up just yet.
ADP, I still don't understand how ADP has not caught up to Greg Dulcich at all, because he gets drafted in every single mock draft and they still have him at 400 and something. So every time you got to go up and search for Greg Dulcich at that point. I'm going to go get Josh Downs here. I'll reach on him just a little bit. I don't think he comes back to me in round 9. Needed my 3rd wide receiver, and I'm a Josh Downs believer. I'm going to say it right now. I know he missed practice the last 2 days. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a long-term injury. But his other receiver, Alec Pierce, there's no timetable on his return right now. And the biggest concern was, can Josh Downs play in 2 wide receiver sets? They're going to force him in there because of their injury situation right now. He averaged 13 points per game in 2024, was top 20 in separation last year. Like, everything is trending for Josh Downs to just play a little bit more and increase his usage. And last year, he led the team in target rate. It's just the snaps have not consistently been there for him. So with Josh Downs, I'm going to buy into all that I can in the 8th, 9th, 10th, wherever he's available.
Yeah, I like Josh Downs too. It's tough for him because it's like another offseason of him dealing with some sort of injury in camp, right? That could start him off slow. Your boy, whoever N Roth is, took Rico right in front of me. That was my next pick, so I took Cortland Sutton instead. I don't love Sutton. He feels like a safe pick though. Obviously Waddle being there is definitely going to lower his target share, but I think touchdowns will be there. With Sutton, I hear we're getting a pretty nice discount on a guy that was, I want to say Sutton was top 15 last year. I could be wrong.
Yeah, he was.
But
He was top 15.
yeah. So, I mean, Waddle being there definitely is a hit, but that's why I got Sutton ranked at 34 after a top 15 finish, because I don't think he finishes top 15 again. But
Are you concerned about Waddle at all and that injury that he's been dealing with?
I don't know that I'm concerned about this injury, but I am concerned just about him overall from a health standpoint. I mean, Denver's got a couple soft tissues already now, with Waddle, with J.K. Dobbins was a soft tissue, a couple other guys. the one benefit and the one positive is a lot of teams, like say the 49ers, they just kind of don't really change anything. And Sean Payton has at least said that he's not happy with all the soft tissues, so
Yeah.
they're going to try to look into it, and maybe that means different kind of stretching, pre-practice, more hydration, whatever. Whereas some other coaches would just kind of just assume, hey, it's football. Guys get hurt, whatever. Like the 49ers really haven't changed up anything. And they
I
kind
don't
of
know
just
how they didn't just tear down the electric facility at this point. It's
money's a terrible thing, man. They invested probably a lot in the facility, and they're just stubborn to move somewhere else. Maybe it's kind of ridiculous at this point. George Kittle said it well. He said, even at the substation, let's just assume it made them 1% worse. He's like, as an athlete, you're looking for tons of ways to make yourself 1% better, and you just stack them up, right?
yeah.
Like maybe it's infrared or it's ice baths, whatever, right? Or you're paying a ton of money for massage therapists that come to your house, right? Like you're stacking up all these 1% to make yourself better. And on the other hand, if the substation, even if it only makes them, just a little bit worse, it's still taking away from those things that do contribute to them getting 1% better. So
Yeah.
same kind of mindset, but I I don't know. Whatever's going on over there, it's not just
Something
rain.
needs to change. I don't think I've ever seen a team in my lifetime get as injured as the 49ers.
Yeah, it's definitely not random in my opinion.
All right. So let's see. How many rings would Shanahan have won without all the injuries his team had to deal with? Well, the only year they were healthy, they made the Super Bowl and they lost to the Chiefs. And that team was really, really good that made it to the Super Bowl last year. They were dominant on both sides of the ball. Um, I don't know. It's a tough question. What do you think?
Yeah, it's football. It's a tough question because football is a lot of football is about the best teams who stays healthy late in the season. A lot of it comes down to that. I mean, look at the Chiefs, right? I mean, they had those O-line injuries. They had to move Tooney inside. They had to kick him outside, right? Like they had some injuries on the O-line. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast, man.
Yeah.
Healthiest team down the stretch has a really strong shot at getting in. Um, so yeah, it's hard to predict. Stephon Diggs, good pick. Very, very good pick. I'm teetering on how high I'm going to push him up. But I did acquire a ton of shares before he signed, so I was happy to see that he landed with that team.
Yeah, I've been saying Washington for quite some time, and I was saying like you could push him all the way. I mean, you could argue DK Metcalf or Stephon Diggs, and I wouldn't be mad at you if you said Stephon Diggs. I mean, he's coming off a 1,000-yard season. He was a wide receiver 15 last year. I I think Washington's such a weird fit though at the same time because it's at nature this should be a run first offense. But I think with the concerns I have with their defense, I think it may be a little bit more pass happy than we expect. I don't. The interesting part about Diggs is I was a big Chig guy. I thought Chig was in for a great year. I'm a little bit hesitant. Chig could be good this year now, especially with a lot of other options there. I don't
Yeah.
think he's as sexy as a late round sleeper as he used to be.
Yeah, Chig is hard. I think Antonio Williams. I mean,
Yeah, he's
I'm
done.
really most bummed about him because I mean he's looked incredible in camp from what I've heard, and I talked to one of the guys that's on the beat over there, and he was saying how good he looks, and it's unfortunate because Diggs now comes, and it's I mean fantasy wise not great. I think Antonio Williams still have a role, but you worry about guys like Antonio and guys like Chig kind of cannibalizing themselves because Diggs and Terry are going to take a lot of the Z and the X, and then it's like what's left in the middle of the field, and
Yeah.
it's tough. So Chig definitely a pretty big loser, for sure. Ironically, I had Rashad White, by the way, ranked ahead of Ja'Cory Merritt, but
Do you?
I'm trying to get a little bit of shares of Ja'Cory, so I took him over
Honestly,
White
you
last
sound
round.
exactly like me. I'm like splitting my shares between them because I think Bill's the early down back and Rashad's the third down back.
Yeah.
And Rashad has kind of the higher ceiling because if Rashad wins the early down work, then he's the three down guy. I think Bill's kind of going to struggle to win the third down role over Rashad White, but
Yeah.
I like both them, especially if I'm playing in a half PPR, then Bill I have higher than Rashad White.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah, I'm definitely good with that. There's certain things you kind of have to be. There's two types of analysts. There's ones that dig their heels in very strongly, and they don't have the ability to take new information in and adjust on their takes, or they just don't want to because maybe they've made super strong takes on certain players and they don't want to, look like a fool. Or you have the other ones that just, are fluid and are able to maybe not overreact way too much and adjust rankings, you know, based on just news, but bring in new information, being able to be flexible. And I try to do that, right? For what it seems, I've seen Ja'Cory catching some passes, which was really my biggest concern because I had worries that Rashad White was just going to own that receiving work, which I still think he'll get the majority of it. But if you're telling me Ja'Cory can get a little bit of the receiving work and he's going to be mainly the early down back, I'm sitting here saying, okay, well, if it's enough receiving work, if we're talking 2, 3 targets a game, and he's consistently getting 70 rushing yards a game, if he can get to that area, now we're talking low end RB2 territory for him. So I'm trying not to overreact. I want to see how they get deployed in some of these preseason games.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting for sure. Real quick, we're going to drop an advertisement after we send Pete off and his Denver Broncos for the year. We're going to put the speed mock draft link in the comment section so you guys can start joining that. It'll only be a 10-second clock, and it's inspired by our boy Mezer in here, who's been wishing for one of these hard drafts where you can't think, you just need to decide really quickly. I think it's definitely going to be interesting. Got to get on those toes and make sure you go out there and get those picks locked in. I'm definitely interested to see how it goes. We got Fat Daddy here, Sports Pod. He said he's slowly coming around on Bill this year. I think so many people are, I don't know if they feel burned by Bill last year or like, I think there's like a weird state of like how Bill is viewed in the fantasy community right now. But
Yeah, it's one of those situations where a player gets so overly hyped, or people think it becomes almost like a caricature, and people just kind of get sick of it. And then when he doesn't pop off like some believed he would, people are just kind of ultimately just fading him. So one of those things take luck, I think, too, there where people just like, yeah, I didn't like him last year. I didn't like all this hype, all this talk. So I'm not interested this year.
yeah, I feel that. I'm buying the hype on Kyler Murray. To be honest, I'm surprised he's not like his ADP is not higher up the board. When started doing mock drafts 2 months ago, Murray's quarterback 17 price. I thought, okay, it'll go up, by the time draft season starts. But quarterback's so deep this year, he's just sitting there. Kyler Murray's only finished lower than quarterback 12 or worse in points per game once throughout his career when he's played more than 5 games. So with Kyler, I love targeting him. Like I mentioned earlier with Justin Jefferson, I'm expecting this offense to play a lot better than they did with JJ McCarthy at the helm. I'm not probably done at quarterback, but I love Kyler Murray's upside. He's never averaged below 30 rushing yards per game throughout his entire career.
Yeah, Kyler is also just you know what you're kind of getting as long as he's healthy, right? From a points per game perspective, I mean, consistently, a guy that's inside the top 10 from a points per game side of things. So if he's healthy, he's going to do it. The problem he's had is the years he wasn't, top 10 in total fantasy points was when he missed time, right? 5 games, 8 games, 11 games, some of these years, but the games he's played, 14 or more, and he's been a top 10 quarterback in fantasy points total. And then even on the years that he didn't play, full seasons and missed a couple, like he was still top 10 on a points per game basis. Yep. So Kyler is interesting. The injuries is a little concerning, but at the price and the cost that you're getting him, totally worth the upside chance. Especially in in the best situation he's ever been in.
Yeah, you mentioned, best situation he's ever been in. A guy that just went Woody Marks, David Montgomery in that backfield. I'm so weird about this backfield because David Montgomery, analytically wise, is not sexy at all, and nothing on the charts say he's going to be good in fantasy this year. But if he does win a big role in this offense, then that defense is going to keep them in every game. It feels like he'll have 18 to 22 touches, could be frisky. I don't know. I'm so torn on David Montgomery right now. Woody Marks has had some good reports out of camp too. So, what's your thoughts on this backfield right now?
Yeah, I'm a huge David Montgomery fan, so I think this is going to be a top 5, top 10 offense in rushing attempts per game. So I think Woody Marks is just a good contingency play, regardless, because
Yeah.
Montgomery's age, because he's had a little bit of injury starting to pile up the last few years. But it's going to be a great defense who's going to get the ball back consistently. They're going to want to control the clock. That's why I have a little bit of concern with the pass catchers there, because I think they want to ground and pound, control the football, play slow. And so I think Woody is a fine pick. I still prefer David Montgomery, very comfortably, but I do think Woody's a pretty solid pick. Especially where he's going.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. If he's the third down guy and Monty's the early down guy, interesting. I think that gets a little frisky there because this offense I still feel like is going to struggle. I'm not sure CJ Stroud is going to like somehow regain that form really quickly. It feels like it's going to have to be a long process for him building that back up to what it was his rookie season. And that offensive line still a little shaky, even though they've gotten better each season. So with that offense, it's just going to be a volume offense. Nico Collins is a guy that I look at, man, I wish he could just finish an entire season. He's always a wide receiver, one in points per game, but he's always missing time. It's really frustrating on that. And there's Keaton Mitchell gone over Kamani Vidal. There, I, I don't know. There's Greg Dulcich. Okay, there's the Miami Dolphins. Is there a rookie that you find yourself targeting? I know the draft's almost over and you might take him here, but a rookie you find yourself targeting that is not going in a lot of drafts?
Well, Cyrus Allen is the obvious one. Cyrus finds himself in a situation where not a lot of competition. You have two veterans in front of him with Rashi Rice and with Xavier Worthy. Both have had injury history, both had issues. Rice has already kind of nicked himself up to start camp. So is Xavier Worthy. So I think Cyrus Allen, while I'm not like crazy about like how people hype players up, Cyrus Allen finds himself with a great offense. They seem to really, really like him. He's running with the ones a ton. And so he's a nice upside shot that I'm definitely willing to take. Now, is he going undrafted? Not necessarily, but I'm going to just take him here at the end of this draft, which I guess technically was close to being undrafted because, I'm middle of the last round.
Still the wide receiver 82 in ADP today. I did a post today about late round wide receivers.
Yeah.
82. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, you're the KC guy, so I mean, what are your thoughts on Allen?
So I think it's kind of hard to be honest because Andy Reid does not historically like rookie wide receivers and does not play them often. But the last 3 seasons, Kansas City's receiver production has been very, very spotty, especially against man coverage and their availability to stay on the field. So with Cyrus Allen, it seems like out of the group so far, he's the best pure route runner and he separates against man coverage better. So from what I'm hearing, he has a chance to be playing more often than rookies do in that system, which allows them to get him on the field early. I don't think this year is like going to be that breakout year. I think he has to get a Rashee Rice injury or an Xavier Worthy injury for him to like reach the ceiling that people are hoping. But I think long term wise, especially in those dynasty formats, you got to have Cyrus Allen on your roster. You have to stash him. You have to find a way to get him. And Caleb Douglas goes like I picked Ted Hurst. I think these late round rookies like Stribling's there as well. There's a lot of good buzz coming about these guys in camp. So I think it's very, very frisky with some of these guys as well. Blitz is a KC fan. You forgot Blitz is a Chiefs fan. Come on, guys. I lived in Kansas. I suffered through Matt Castle, Tyler Thigpen, the boys at quarterback that were bad, and now everybody just hates me and calls me a bandwagon at this point. There's not much I can do.
I I will say another rookie that I enjoy drafting is Damon Claiborne.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's behind two guys that injury wise, I mean Mason hasn't really been able to stay healthy consistently, and obviously Aaron Jones is getting up there in age, right? So Claiborne's pretty interesting. I mean he's a buck 88, 5'10, so he's not a big guy, which is always concerning. But Jordan Mason, when he was the guy, he was getting out targeted by Xavier Scott, I think it was, like out of
Yeah.
nowhere. didn't even have a pass catching role. So I think Claiborne could even carve that out if Jones gets hurt. So he's definitely somebody that I'm trying to snag on deeper benches and leagues. So
Yep. I love Claiborne. I think he's definitely, especially with Aaron Jones, the guy cannot stay healthy anymore to save his life. And I think there's going to be somebody that has to step up on those third down roles other than Jordan Mason, because we saw even last year he wasn't able to fill that, like you mentioned, with Xavier Scott kind of filling into that role. But Pete, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Oh my gosh, I can't talk right now. Coming on the show right now, I'm getting all choked up, having to send you
yeah,
off
that's all right.
here.
Don't cry, man. It's all good.
We'll have to talk again before the Chiefs and Broncos play on opening day. Maybe get a little preview of us talking, and then we'll go from there.
All right, brother. Appreciate you having me on. Good luck this season.
Yes, sir. See you, Pete. All right, guys. The speed draft. If you want to go draft the second time with us, we got the speed draft. I'm gonna pull this board up right now. I gotta share this tab instead. Mezer mentioned, when are we hearing about the Blitz leagues? Great news for you guys. I have updates on all that type of stuff actually right now. We are doing 2 leagues, one with me and one with the Dean. And those 2 leagues will compete for a championship together. There will be 2 playoff races, and they will combine. Basically, the championship will be week 17. The top team in each will play off against each other. You'll have teams that are going out there and finding out different ways to compete against each other across leagues, but it should be pretty fun. So we're looking for about 24 guys in there, have about 24 to 30. And I know you want to take the Dean to school, so we'll have to throw you in there. But we're looking for 24 to 30 people in those leagues for the fan leagues. Talk to potential sponsors of that too as well, which could be really nice for you guys. And the plan is August 29th is our Blitz Creators League draft. Before that draft kicks off, Dean's draft will go and my draft will draft live on a live stream before the live stream with all the Blitz creators on the 29th. So we will have that going. It should be a great time. And we will have to kind of send those out here in the next week or two once we get all those applications in. And then we will have those leagues set up. And then bam, everything is all set up for us to be successful. Good news too. We got the community open and started now. I'm not doing a paid community. Screw that. Everything's free here at Blitz right now. I want you guys to just enjoy the content, pick our brains. Mezer, you can call me stupid for being a Chiefs fan. Dota, you can do whatever you want. Call me stupid. You guys can take the Dean to his office hours and school him, whatever it takes. We just want to interact with you boys and get you guys involved. So that Discord link we will share as well at the end of this video. So let me pull up this sleeper link. I mean, what we got here? 3, 4, 5 teams on the speed run. What are we doing, boys? We don't have 10 teams right now. Let me toss this thing out there. Let me throw it on Twitter real quick. We're doing a quick speed run. So we got to post this. Let's go. 10-second clock. Mezer, you got friends that are Chiefs fans. There you go. Let's go. There is an ability to be friends with Chiefs fans in the NFL. There is an ability. Starting in the next few minutes. There you go. Throw that out there. Throw a post out there. Grim is a Bengals fan. The Chiefs and the Bengals had those games a few years ago. He isn't much better. Mezer, how did you feel about Joe Burrow on the sideline smooching it up with Olivia Ponton? Ponton. I don't even know how to pronounce it. A few weeks ago, that was a little frisky over there. He's copying Justin Herbert's whole flow now. I don't know, man. I'll throw this in the Discord too. Make sure we get a few more people in here. Hey, if that keeps him healthy, I'm all for it. whatever it takes for Joe Burrow to finish a season this year, that would be great for football. Another. There you go. Throw that out there. Is Deontay Thornton pick 1? All right, let me get this Discord link in here for y'all, for you guys to join as well, so you guys can start getting in this community and joining this. Remember, it's literally just a way for us to interact. Like Mezer, Dota, like anybody that will be in these fans leagues, it'll be the main form of communication for those as well. So if you're taking the D into his office hours and schooling him, you can go out there and let him know in the comment section and trash talk and do whatever with him. So getting a few of these guys in here, doing this, throw that in there. If you guys want to join that, fill that puppy up. We are looking to fill, let's see here, probably 6 slots now in this mock draft. We got Brian popping in. We got Brosig popping in. There we go. We got a few more we're going to need here. Let's see if maybe I can get a couple of these boys in here that I know. Throw that there. There's nothing like a Bluetooth mouse that's about to die, and you have to find AA batteries and you have none. So I'm just sitting here having to swap between my laptop and my mouse. It's not going well, especially like this 10-second clock could really screw me. Like my mouse could be just dead, and I got to make a pick in this random time, and it's going to be an absolute nightmare. So got to make sure I lock in for that part right there. We'll give it a few more minutes. Mezer, this is your draft, dog. How many more minutes you want to give it to fill this puppy up? Maybe next week what we'll do too is I'll put this mock draft in the description as well, the first one before I even start that video, and then we do double mock draft Monday right off the gate. The other thing too is we gotta kind of figure out this whole streaming thing where it just starts lagging in the middle. That has not been okay the last few times. So got to make sure that gets locked in as well. You guys see here 10 seconds. You got 12 teams in here. We're cooking. No third round reversal, PPR. We're chilling there. Could just randomize the draft order now. They join, they get that slot. That boy Todd Hayes, let's go. We got 4 more slots. I think at 8:55 we should have this thing full, which would be great. Okay, so 8:55 is what we're giving it till Mezer. I'm gonna go get a quick 3-minute water break. I will be right back in 1 second. I'm gonna run some ads that we ran during our draft show, and we will catch you guys here in a second.
The future is here. Rotobot AI is the next best thing in terms of finding the best player props and ways to dominate fantasy football by knowing those insights that only artificial intelligence can provide you. And this app is quick, it is fleece, and it has everything you need, breaking down every single player from every single matchup to help dominate your parlays, bets, and your fantasy football leagues, or just gain some insights around the NFL. Use code BLITZ and check out Rotobot on the App Store.
Every stitch, each design, every message, stands for fathers who show up, stand tall, and lead their families with purpose. Visit us on Instagram at ValidDadBrand or ValidDad.com.
Join us now on the newest sports social media app that's built like Twitter and has Discord capabilities to engage directly with us here at Blitz Sports Media. Whether you're an NFL fan, MLB fan, or a fantasy football advocate, we got everything here for you on Sellout Crowds to keep you up to date here in our Blitz Sports Media community and be directly in contact with us here at Blitz. Make sure you get signed up. Link will be in the description as we continue to build this thing out. Hopefully looking to engage with a ton of you guys soon here on Blitz Sports Media. Stay in the loop this offseason at Blitz Sports Media. We have a new mock draft simulator with prospect profiles for every single player, trades, 7 rounds, whatever you need to dominate your mock drafts. Finally, we got 800-plus free agent and draft profiles on our site. Whether it's the 500th guy or the top guy, we got them. And then we have the free agency tracker tracking all the moves this offseason, so you are never out of the loop. Visit blitzsportsmedia.com for all these products.
Yeah, I do not know why that ad got progressively worse in how it sounds. My voice sounds buggy. It sounds like I'm carrying my F's a little too long there. I'm a little bit Sammy Sprinkler on my end, which sounds weird. I don't know if it came out in the lefty or not, but that was the offseason ad we ran during the draft show. So thought I'd throw it on, but Dota thinks I'm selling out to big corporations now and I'm cooked. So that's not good vibes right now for the squad. One more guy is all we need, and we can get this thing started. We still have 5 minutes before that timer goes off, and we are going to start this thing. We just need one more person to fill this puppy up. Not a sellout. Thank you. I'm not a sellout. Hand up. You guys heard it here first. I'm not a sellout. You heard it here first. All right, let's go, boys. We got 12. Okay. 12 people. You know what? I have to randomize it one more so everybody knows that we're starting because it's a 10-second clock. All right. Shout out to you guys for filling this thing up in the middle of the video. So let me get 2 randomizations. Okay. This is the draft order. We got 10 seconds. All right. This is going to be the clock. I got Allie, the supplier. Okay. We got the first 4 in. Mezer's 10-second mock draft is now live. All right, boys. Here we go. We got 10 seconds. I'm ready to go. Hopefully my mouse does not die here. A lot of problems with that, the mouse dying, and running fantasy football is auto-picked already. Oh, no. Puka Nacua goes 101. This is what's going to happen here. Oh, no. See, the misclick. You cannot misclick in 10 seconds because you got to be on your instincts, and this is why we wanted to do this. With me personally being in the top 5, it's kind of like muscle memory for me. I got Gibbs, Bijan, Chase, Puka, JSN in that order. And I will not be hesitant from the best spot in the draft to not the best spot. That's how it be sometimes with how it goes. Amon-Ra St. Brown there, a good lock at 107. I think Christian McCaffrey is the interesting one here. I think I've seen him go anywhere from 103 to 111 in a lot of these mock drafts. Ashton Genty in the first right there from Mezer. You got a little bit of a running backs forming there. You got Pete, who did join this draft. Shout out to Pete. I didn't want to keep him any longer. Pete, if you do want to join back, I just didn't want to keep you any longer. I didn't want to kick you out, anything like that. So if you do want to join back and talk more ball, I just didn't want to take up more than an hour of your time tonight. So you can join back if you would like. But I do love that Kenneth Walker and Justin Jefferson stack. I will say with my Chiefs knowledge, the Chiefs are going to use Kenneth Walker a lot in the passing game this year, especially in that screen game. Amari Demercado is currently the second running back in this offense and hasn't really done much historically. So there's not really any concerns for me from a backfield split right there. And I love how this thing is moving. Mezer, you might be cooking here. The pace of this draft is absolutely elite right now. And you can see the running backs going. Thank God I got a hero running back in Bijan. A.J. Brown goes right there. You guys are putting me in a tough spot. I'm going to have to stick to my guns here. We're going Rashee Rice. Told you guys he's a second-round pick for me. I have him over Olave. I don't have him over Brown. But I like him there right at that early, mid-second, third round as well. You go Derrick Henry there. You got Bijan, Rashee Rice. Okay, Puka, Drake London. Interesting. This could be another one where Trey McBride falls pretty deep into this third round. Rice Gross runs like an old man. Hey, he's not running from jail right now, so he's not going to run as fast. When he's on that field, though, he's running for his life. So I'm hoping that he winds up being just as good there. And then I'm kind of sitting here. I'm going to go running back here again, Kyren Williams. I'm probably not going to see a great running back at 410. Kyron's that guy I take a look at over Jeremiah Love right now in these drafts, and I don't even see Jeremiah Love's available. There he is. Kyron's had 3 straight years of 1,100-plus rushing yards and 13-plus touchdowns. Kind of hard to miss there. I love my running back room, and I got a receiver with some elite upside as long as he doesn't run like an old man like what Mezer says. And we got guys on auto draft left and right now, and that's what happens when you go with a 10-second clock. I did not mean to snipe you, Dota. Sorry, not Kyron. Javonte Williams there. Not a bad pick at all. I like him as well. Where am I taking Quinshon Judkins? Well, I like Quinshon right around that 410, 503 spot, potentially, depending on, the running backs available there. I think with Quinshon, you know what you're going to get. It's a volume situation in Cleveland. I'm not sure he necessarily plays on those third downs, But he's gonna, have really strong volume, and that's gonna vault him towards a strong RB2 season. Do I think he has top 8 upside this year? Probably not. I'd be lying to you if I said so. But I do think he's a steady option, especially if you're sitting there with no running backs and you need a guy that has some volumes. Bunting, what is up, my guy? You know what's crazy? I'm actually rewatching Game of Thrones right now, so that is a fire profile picture there. My fellow mod, yo, you guys are mods? Let's go. What Discord are you guys mods in? But yeah, the Game of Thrones picture is sick. I don't know. How did you guys let me get Lad McConkey at 410? Are you guys trying to like go easy on me because there's a 10-second mock and like I need to have my guys? I have 4 of my guys to start, and there you go. I have 5 of my guys to start. Stop it. Mezer, you said this 10-second mock draft would be hard. I mean, I'm getting all my guys here. I got Warren, I got McConkey, I got Kyron, I got Rice, I got Bijan. I mean, I got the boys right there. Saints Pelican is he said screw the running backs. He is not picking one running back right now in fantasy. He's got Jamar, Chris Olave, George Pickens, Zay Flowers, Jamison Williams. Oh my gosh, I needed my running backs. Had to let him fall. You are on the clock right now. Out of these wide receivers, who would you draft first? Lad McConkey, Ted McMillan, Olave, Egabuka, or Devonta Smith? For me, as much as I love Lad McConkey, I still have Olave. I want to say it's either 1 or 2 slots higher, but I have, what is it? Sorry, my brain just went dumb. Olave is 1 or 2 slots higher than Lad McConkey. I have Lad higher than Malik Neighbors still because there are a little bit concerns with me with his injuries. I think Lad's in for a great year, but it's hard to price him over Chris Olave, who had 18 points in 4 of his 7 games with Tyler Shuck at quarterback. So feel really confident that he's in for a nice wide receiver 1 season. Parker Washington to Pete. That's diabolical, man. I was hoping I could get him. Man, it's kind of funny to see people go on auto like this just because right away they had 10 seconds and they missed that turn and, they miss out on their picks. I've never heard anybody say the Mezer part out loud. They always say grim. I don't know. Mezer flows off the tongue a little bit very well. So Mezer is known. Oh boy, I'm kind of screwed here. I was not locked in. Screw it. Bully tight end. We're bullying. We're bullying right now. We got Sam Laporta playing the flex spot. The 10-second clock. I'm talking too much. I can't lock in. I'm getting absolutely cooked right now in this draft. I'm not locked in. All right, we're good. Okay, now we're locked. All that yapping, you almost missed the pick. Dude, I know. This is the tough part about the 10-man league is I'm yapping and I can't lock into my picks. So we went bully tight end with Laporta and Jalen Warren. I think most people aren't familiar with Harry Potter, so they don't know how to say it. LOL. Yeah, see, I've watched Harry Potter. I watched the entire series once. My girlfriend loves Harry Potter, so I kind of went through that series. Couldn't tell you Harry Potter lore very in depth, but I will call you Mezer. Messer or Mezer? Is it Zer or Z? I don't know. Now I just kind of feel like I sound like an idiot. All right, I have a keeper question. 12-man PPR, 2 wide receivers, single flex. Keep Hampton at pick 24 or Tootin at pick 120. Ooh, this is a tough one. Personally, for me, I would just keep Amari and Hampton. Pick 24 is not a lot later, but it's later than you would necessarily select them. I think it's worth that high of a pick. And potentially what you can get. Tootin I love, but the upside of Amari and Hampton is pretty legit there with where you're getting him there. And I think it's kind of hard to pass up having locked in your RB1 there already at pick 24. So I would try to go that route. I had no idea it was from PR. So Messer. Dude, now I'm in my own head right now. Mezer. Yeah, see, I'm in my own head now. Who to draft at 111 and 202? Honestly, one of my favorite, combinations at that back half of that first round. Wan'Dale Robinson did go. Hold on one second. I got to make sure I don't screw this up here. Okay, you got a lot of auto picks. So I don't think I'm getting a quarterback on this back end. I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence. But who do you draft at 111 or 202? Personally, for me, I'm stacking running backs around that range. The only wide receiver I'm kind of like looking at that really, turns me on is Justin Jefferson. Pause. That sounds really bad. But Justin Jefferson's the only receiver I look at in that range, and I say, okay, I'd like to take him. If not, running backs that I'm targeting around there are Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Amari, and Hampton. I think getting 2 of those 4 guys sets you up with 2 elite running backs and in a great spot to win your league. So I would kind of go that route. Pace Trains, really appreciate you, bro. Tune into every Mock Monday, man. We answer your questions. You can draft with us, have a great time, just whatever you need. So many people have given up on this. I love it. This is your chaos, man. The picks are flying right now by me. All right, Cokeheads, stand up in the comment section. Can we have Cokeheads stand up in the comment section? Do you like CMC or JT more? Oof, this is a tough one for me. I know Mesler is going to kill me, but I actually prefer CMC more. I have a little bit of concerns with JT in the offensive situation. Obviously, CMC's injury today, we're going to have to see how that progresses and plays out. But with the way I'm drafting right now, I'm under the assumption that I have to take CMC's handcuff regardless of where I'm at. So I'm not necessarily as worried picking him, towards that end of the first round compared to his RB3 ADP because I'm going to get Kalen Black later in the draft. So I would have to draft Kalen Black if I'm going to draft Christian McCaffrey, and you have to overpay for it. So you are chilling. But yeah, my brain is in an ad. Blitz now sniped me twice, dude. Coke and Rashid, man, I'm really high on Rashid Shaheed this year. I think if the targets come back to what they were in New Orleans, he's going to be in for a really strong year because they utilized him well in these spot plays and shot plays. Like, just more volume there. Like, the guy's going to be a dog. You should see Debro in a 10-second draft is hilarious. You should have seen Debro and me at the expo, man. We had a great time together. You should have linked up with us, Mezer. But yeah, the 10-second draft, definitely, like, my brain is going right now. I am definitely going. It's really tough to go through these comment sections for sure and do it. Why is Cooper Kupp not being featured enough? Well, the thing with Cooper Kupp is he's not the same Cooper Kupp as he once was, but the interesting part with Kupp is he kind of disappeared midway through the year and then had some big weeks towards the end of the year when it mattered. I just don't think he really has like that ceiling anymore to be a consistent lineup guy in fantasy. Like, I would not pick Cooper Kupp this year. I don't think it's worth it. I'll get a little bit of Denzel Boston stock in here. Kupp is a great blocker. That's the interesting part, though, is he is a great blocker. And you know who this does hurt? Torrey Horton. I think Torrey Horton was a guy that before the trade deadline was a riser in Dynasty. They trade for Rashid Shaheed, sign him to extension. They still have Kupp, who's going to be on the field, and they have JSN. So Torrey Horton's kind of like an afterthought in that offense compared to last year where he had a few breakout weeks and became a really big option in that offense. Give me a little bit of Juwan Johnson. Oh, dude, I forgot I went 2 tight ends. No. We're going bully tight end for sure. I like Juwan Johnson at his value, but I completely forgot that I had 2 tight ends already. Oh, man. That's diabolical there. Let me pull this off. Let me get my face off the screen right here. Horton is still injured, I think. Yeah, he's kind of working his way back right now. I'm not sure if he's available week 1 or not at this point. Once you get to 10-second drafts, you get bored of the regular drafts. Well, I just can't wait for the in-person drafts I got coming up here. They're going to be really fun. Can't wait for the Blitz fan leagues, though. Those are going to be an absolute movie. So if you guys haven't, check out the description below. We're doing fan leagues where you guys are going to compete against me and the Dean. I know everybody's talking about the office hours with Dean and competing against him and taking him to school. Make sure you guys check out the description, fill out that form to be in those leagues. Love Horton. Torrey Horton is so much better than Kupp. Yeah, I think that's the long-term plan, but I think Cooper Kupp has a lot of pull in that locker room, and I don't think he's going anywhere this year in terms of they're just going to completely not use him. McDaniel said he's featuring a 3 running back committee with Hampton, Mitchell, and Vidal. Will that hurt Hampton's stock? I'm actually interested to see if it will hurt Hampton's stock. If so, I'm still buying him everywhere. I don't think it's a situation where I'm overly concerned that he's going to lose that backfield. From what Chargers beat writers were saying today, that Vidal played 0 snaps with the first team. So how is it going to be a 3-headed committee if the guy's not even playing snaps with the first team just yet? So not super worried about that one there. I think the interesting part about it is just check out the preseason, see who's playing with what team, and then we'll go from there. I think Mike McDaniel is a little bit of a tease in his post-game interviews and press conferences and all this stuff, trying to get people to believe one thing when he's actually going to do another thing. All I know is Mike McDaniel is an absolute gold mine for running back production, and that's why I'm so high on Amari Hampton this season. So yeah, got to school him on his Chargers fan. Me and Dean, we're Chargers and Jaguars fans. We get a lot of those guys. I'd say I'm more of a Jaguars fan than Chargers fan in fantasy this year. So I'm going to continue to target those guys at their ADPs. Vidal lost me so many weeks last year. Yeah, that offense was so frustrating last year because their offensive line stunk, and now their offensive line's healthy, and it's one of the better units in football because they have 2 top 10 tackles, and that'll definitely do it for them on the offensive side of the ball. But Mock Monday has concluded, everybody. I really appreciate you for tuning into another week's episode. Apply for those fan leagues. Join the Discord. I put in this chat. Can't wait to talk to you guys every day on there. Give all my fantasy advice. Just be communicating with you guys. Like, hey, Bunting and, Mezer, if you guys want to be mods on this server, I don't care. Like, come be the Blitz guys. We don't even have a name for the Blitz fans yet. We just call them Blitz fans, Blitz bolts. I don't even know at this point. We're still finding ways to, get implemented and get involved. So if you guys think of a good nickname for the Blitz community, let us know. Maybe we'll go through and start implementing that and go from there. But hey, I really appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of this. I will catch you guys next Monday on the stream.